One of the key indicators of knowing how far you have fallen from the grace of God is by looking at what's going on in your life and at society at large. You see, when you see evil multiplying in your life and in society, you know that there's something wrong. You know that you are definitely far, far away from the grace of God. You've fallen pretty far away from the grace of God. You see, I used to think that we are simply misinformed. That's the reason why we keep disobeying God, because we don't know what He wants. But the reality is that there is no shortage of truths out there about God. There is simply no shortage of revelation about what God wants from people, from us. But the problem is when you read Romans chapter 1, verse 18 and onwards, you find out that it's not ignorance. The issue is not ignorance. The issue is not because they were misinformed, but the issue is because of the hardness of their hearts. And because of that, they continue to sin against God. They know what is right, they know what is wrong, but they continue to follow what is wrong because they don't want to submit to God. They don't want to submit to His authority. So they continued to make their own idols. They worship false God, false deities. And today we worship the God of self. We worship ourselves, right? They continue to engage in lustful activities, sexual immorality, homosexual activities. They continue to engage in quarreling, murder, greed, hate, all sorts of wickedness. And you know what God did? God abandoned them. It's like the story of the prodigal son. You don't want to be with me. I'm going to have to let you go. I'm going to have to let you feel what it's like to live a life without the presence of your Father beside you. You don't want God in your life. I'm going to let you feel it. Hopefully, you're going to be just like the prodigal son who would come to his senses and come back to God. But if not, unfortunately, you're going to be left out there all alone, and you're eventually going to die out there. You're going to have to face the judgment of God later on. Now, it's one thing to fall into sin, but when people start to be prideful of their sin, when they start to not just continue their sinful lifestyle, but they encourage others to do the same thing, that's quite a different story. It's worse than simply sinning. It's promotion of sin. And that is really going to tick God off.